Hi everyone, welcome back to the class. In this class, we are going to learn how to design the syringe icon. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So, first thing first, we are going to grab the rectangle tool, and from the center of the artboard, we are going to create a rectangle with the height and the width, and then we are going to adjust the height and width according to the icon guide so that everything aligns properly. And then we will go ahead and increase the stroke thickness of our design. Now we'll create another rectangle on the top of this rectangle with a little bit extra width and height. Now we will select the upper portion of the design and bring it towards the bottom a little bit and align it with the icon guide. Now let's go ahead and create one more rectangle on the top of this design and make sure that the height and width of this rectangle will be smaller as compared to previous two rectangles. Now we'll go ahead and create a duplicate copy of the second rectangle and bring it towards the top. And now we'll select the corners of all of these rectangles and we will make them rounded. In the next step, we will create another rectangle similar to the main tube, and we will make the size of this rounded rectangle smaller, and for that we will decrease the height and width of this design. Once done, we will go ahead and make a few adjustments to the design about its width and height and other proportions. And now in the next step, we will start making the readings of the syringe or the measurements. And in order to do that, we will create the line segment on the one edge and create its duplicate copy on the other edge. And now using the blend tool, we will create the copies of this design among the two lines, and then from the blend options, we will decrease the number of copies of these lines. And now we'll go ahead and at the bottom, using the line segment tool, we will create a design or a line, and we will keep it rounded and make the thickness of the stroke smaller, and also decrease the second rectangle's stroke width. Once done, we'll go ahead and select all of these shapes together into one single group, and then we'll go ahead and make sure that all of these shapes are properly adjusted and aligned. Now we'll go ahead and select this design and rotate it. Now we'll go ahead and make sure that the design is properly adjusted on the right spot in the canvas and start making the remaining of the adjustments to the design. Now once done, we'll go ahead and design the bottle of the syringe. So we'll create a rectangle on the side, and then we will start working on other design elements. We will create another rectangle as a duplicate copy in the smaller size and increase its width. And then we will select the lower rectangle and create a duplicate copy and then bring it towards the top. And now we'll go ahead and select the outer rectangle and then increase the stroke size. Once done, we will select all four corners of the thicker rectangle and make them rounded. So once we have created the body of the rectangle, we'll go ahead and start designing the cap of this rectangle. So we'll create a duplicate copy of one of the rectangle and bring it towards the top and adjust its width and height. And then we'll create a duplicate copy again of this rectangle as well and bring it towards the top with a different proportion. And we will also make the corners rounded. And now we'll select the external shapes of this design and we will combine them using the shape builder tool. And now we'll select the inner two corners of this design and make them rounded. And now we will go ahead and make the final adjustments to the design, and then we will move forward and select all of these shapes together into one single group. Once done, we will see if any changes need to be made, and then we will make the proportions right, adjust the height and width, and finalize the design. Once we are done with all the changes, now you can see that our design in the line art style is ready. Now we'll go ahead and start working on the fill style artwork of our design. So instead of doing everything step by step, I will just fast forward the video and you can see the whole process on my screen, as we have already covered everything in detail in the lessons, so you can see and follow along with me on the screen. So now as you can see that our design in the fill style is ready. Now we'll select all of these shapes together into one single group, and now we will move forward and start adding colors to our artwork. So as soon as we have created another copy of our artboard for the colored version, we'll go ahead and start working on the color palette of the design, and we will make the few rectangles on the top of our canvas and make few duplicate copies for creating the color palette. Once done, we will start adding the colors inside the color palette from our color guide option, and we will select different colors that are best match for the theme of our medical style. Once we are happy with all the colors that we would like to add inside our artwork from our color palette, we'll go ahead and using the color picker tool, we'll start adding these colors inside our icon. So let's go ahead and do that. So now as you can see that we have successfully added all the colors from our color palette inside our design, and our design in the fill color style is ready. Now we'll go ahead and start creating another colored version of our design, but this colored version is going to be gradient colored version. So in order to start off this process, what we are going to do is at the top of the canvas of our design, we are going to create several different copies of the rectangles, and using the gradient tool, we will be adding the gradients inside these rectangles, and we will start adding the colors from the color palette to create our gradient color options. So once we are happy with all the gradiented colors that we'll like to add inside our design, we'll select the design elements, and using the color picker tool, we'll start adding the colors inside the design. And then what we are going to do is, by selecting the individual design elements, we can make different settings of the gradients by editing the gradient inside our design. So in the same way that we have done before in the first design element option for adding the gradient colors inside this design, we'll start adding the gradient colors in the other parts of the design as well, and we'll repeat the same process throughout all the design options inside our artwork. So now as you can see that we have added all the colors successfully inside our design. You can see on our screen that our design in the gradient color style is ready as well. Now I will select all of these shapes together into one single group, and you can see that our design is ready. Now I will go ahead and see you in the next class.